So today we're going to discuss a very important topic in data science. When you start out with data science, when you start out working with data, uh, scales of measurement, how this data can be treated, what you can do with this data, what you cannot do with this data, what is this type of data. So one type of data we've already seen in one of our previous videos, which is quantitative and qualitative data, discrete and continuous data within the quantitative data. But there are still more things that we have to see as far as our data is concerned, our variables are concerned. So what are variables? Anything of which values vary, right? Whose values vary either with time or with space. Anything whose value varies is a variable, and these variables can be any of these four types: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So what are these? Let us understand. So think of measurement scales like levels on a ladder. So each level tells you how much information your data carries and what kind of math you can do with it. As I told you, what you can do with your variables, that's what scales tell you. So, and how much information does your data carry? Each level tells you that. So at the lowest level, you can only label the data. That means your data can just have a name. It can be either this or that. It can be categories only. But at the highest level, you can measure and compare with absolute zero. So what do we mean by this? Let us understand each level. So at the highest level, we have the ratio scale, and ratio scale has three important properties. Essentially there are four, but essentially there are these three important properties that you need to look at. Number one, the ratio of this variable, of the values in this variable, are meaningful quantity. That means that if you divide one value by another, you can have a meaningful quantity. That one quantity is let's say one value is twice as another, one value is thrice as another, one value is half as another. So that is a meaningful quantity. Let us say, weight of a person, height of a person, age, income. So you can always have a ratio. Let's say you're comparing heights of two people. You can always say that one is twice as tall as another. Yeah. Similarly, one earns four times as another person. So the income variable has the ratio has a meaningful quantity. Secondly, the distance is a meaningful quantity. You can actually find out the difference between them. Yeah, and it becomes a meaningful quantity. Let's say somebody earns 1 lakh rupees per month, another person earns 50,000 rupees a month. So there's a difference of 50,000 per month. That's a distance is a meaningful quantity. Then comparisons such as x1 greater than x2, x1 lesser than x2, x2 greater than x3 are meaningful. You can actually compare which quantities are greater than another, which quantities are lesser than another. And there is a true zero. So what do we mean by this? So what we mean by this is that, when we say that the weight is zero, that means that there is no weight. The income is zero, that means there is no income. The age is zero, that means age is zero. Yeah, there is no age of that person. He is not even born yet. So but essentially you can see the first three qualities in any variable when you look at ratio scale, that the ratio is meaningful, distance is meaningful, and comparisons are meaningful. Now let us look at one level below this, interval scale. Here the last two properties, that is distance is meaningful and comparison is meaningful. Ratio is not a meaningful quantity. There is no true zero. Let's say dates on a calendar. Yeah. So between, let's say, 2000, year 2000 and year 2005, you can see the distance, that there is a distance of 5 years. There's a difference of 5 years. You can say comparison. Yeah, that 2005 is greater than 2000. However, 2005 divided by 2000 does not mean anything. Yeah. So Again, 0 degrees Celsius does not mean no temperature. It means a zero temperature. Yeah, so there is no true zero. So that is why you can add or subtract, but you can't say one value is twice as another. Ratio is not a meaningful quantity. 40 degrees Celsius is not twice as hot as 20 degrees Celsius because 0 is arbitrary. So an interval scale, both distance and comparisons are meaningful quantity, but the ratio is not a meaningful quantity. Then the next level comes the ordinal scale. Now in the ordinal scale, both the ratio and the distance, the first two properties, are not meaningful quantities. Only the comparisons are meaningful. So these are typically categorical variables, yeah, which are ordered categorical variables. So let's say educational level, a postgraduate is greater than a graduate is greater than a high school, but there is no distance between them. There is no difference between them. There is no ratio between them. A postgraduate is not twice as well educated as a graduate, or 4 times as well educated as a somebody who's graduated from high school. Yeah, or a satisfaction level, low, medium, high. It is just an order that we're looking at. We're not looking at any distance. We're not looking at any ratio. Yeah, rank in a race, first, second, third. There is no ratio, there is no distance. So you can rank and order the data, but the difference between the levels is not measurable. So for example, the gap between first and second place may not be the same as second or third. So you can say who is higher and who is lower, but you cannot say by how much. So you can only rank things. You can know what is greater than what, but you cannot say by how much is it greater than something or how much is it lesser than something. So last level is the nominal level. Nominal level, ratio is not meaningful, distance is not meaningful, comparisons are meaningful, are even they are not meaningful. It's wrongly written here. Comparisons are not meaningful. None of these qualities exist in a nominal scale. There is only a label. So a gender, male, female, other, blood type A, B, AB, O, country India, Japan, Canada, US, UK, whatever. So nobody is greater than another. There is no comparisons. Yeah, there is no distance. There is no difference. It is obviously not a quantitative variable, and there is no ratio. Ratio is not a meaningful quantity. You can count frequencies like how many people fall in each group, how many males are there, how many females are there, how many have A blood group, how many have B blood group, but you cannot rank or find an average. You only answers which category and not by how much. I'm sorry for this mistake. Comparisons are not meaningful. Remember, none of the qualities of the ratio scale, that is the ratio, distance, and comparisons, are satisfied in a nominal scale. So these are the four categories of scales of a variable, and I have a data set which is a example data set which carries all of these variables, all of these scales. So let us see which are what. So you have the employee ID. It is simply a nominal scale. It's just an identifier. Labels each employee uniquely. No numeric meaning. Yeah. Department. Again a nominal. HR is not greater than finance. There is no ratio. There is no comparison. There is no distance. Gender. Again nominal. Male is not greater than female. Male minus female does not mean anything. Male divided by female does not mean anything. Yeah. Job level, however, junior, mid, senior, it's an ordinal variable. The comparisons are meaningful, but the distance is not meaningful. Neither is the ratio. Similarly, for satisfaction score, low, medium, high, it's just an ordinary variable. Only thing that is meaningful is the comparison. No ratio and no distance. Then again, 2010, 2012, 2015 is the year joined. Here, what do you have? Ratios are not meaningful. The distance is meaningful. 2010 minus 2012 is 2 years. Yeah. 2010 minus 2015 is 5 years. Distance is meaningful. Comparisons are meaningful. But the ratios are not meaningful. It's an interval scale. Age you have all three properties that are satisfied that are meaningful. You can have the ratio, somebody is twice as aged as another, somebody's half an age. Distance is definitely meaningful. How many years distance difference there is between, let's say, two children, and obviously comparison is there. Similarly, for monthly salary, it's a ratio scale because all of these three properties are satisfied. So this was the scale of measurement. Whenever you see a variable, firstly you see whether it's quantitative or qualitative. Within quantitative, qualitative, you see whether it's discrete variable or continuous variable. We discussed it in the last video. You can have a look. And then you can have in both quantitative and qualitative variable what you can do with this data, whether you can divide the values with each other, whether you can add or subtract the values with each other, or you can rank the values in terms of each other, in comparison to each other. Scales will tell you that. And once you have this clear, you can do further data analysis. So that is it for today. Let me know your comments and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.